I had no idea. Top 5 things you didn't know when going into project management. And so, greetings. My name is Anthony Johnson, project management consultant, mentor, servant leader. Welcome back to the channel where we turn strategy into execution and vision into impact. And today I'm sharing some inside scoop for those that are taking the leap into project management. And I imagine that some existing project managers will say, yes, I wish I knew that too. And so let's dive in. I had no idea the top 5 things you didn't know going into project management. Number 1 on the list, there is a wide range and or variation in the responsibilities in a project manager role. Believe it or not, it goes well beyond the typical managing time, cost, and budget. It goes well beyond the typical things you find in job descriptions that say that you'll be managing through the initiating, the planning, execution, and closing while monitoring along the way. It goes well beyond those standard things, because what I want to share with you is that many times in project management job descriptions, those accountabilities are the things that vary. For example, in some organizations, the PM has a large body of work involving managing the budget, establishing the budget, and ongoing checking the budget and making sure that every task is assigned to a particular cost and a cost per FTE, and the list just goes on. Whereas in other organizations, the entire budgeting process is handled by the financial group, where the PM is solely responsible for reporting the milestone payments in the finances for a given project. Another example why the responsibilities vary so much in different jobs depending on your role and depending on the organization. Some organizations will require the PM to create the business cases, scope documents, while other organizations will simply have a document to hand over to you that will serve as an input into the project planning. And so, as a new project manager, it behooves you to explore the job descriptions, ask these types of questions during those job interviews to consider what task you'll actually be responsible for. So then you'll be able to consider, where your strong suits are with respect to searching out some of those PM roles and their corresponding job descriptions. And these are just a couple of examples, right? There's major differences across the board with respect to PM work. And so it's important that you understand what you'll be accountable and responsible for on a daily basis in performing your project management role. And so number 2, you're not just managing tasks, you're managing people. Now, granted, you may not have direct reports, but I had no idea I'd be a part-time project manager and part-time therapist, for example. When working with engineers, imagine them venting about the requirements for a project. Imagine working with stakeholders who are second-guessing the scope and the teammates that are silently burning out. Emotional intelligence? It's not a bonus, it's a necessity to have emotional intelligence. And so I had no idea, and the list goes on, right? That your beautifully laid out and built project plan will probably change within days of creating it. You spend hours building it, only to watch priorities shift and timelines get squeezed. But hear me, the value is in the process of planning, not the final document. And another sentiment, no plan survives first contact with reality. So these are just some things to consider as you move into this project management role, depending on what organization you're looking to work for, to have these things in mind. And thirdly, communication is 80% of the job. Easy. Some would say even higher. But I would say communication is 80% of the job when doing project management. You know, if you don't like emails or meetings or explaining things in 5 different ways, you're going to struggle. But fortunately, AI can help in these areas, but I will save the AI topic for another video. And so I had no idea. I spend more time aligning communications than tackling and tracking KPI metrics. One miscommunication can delay a $2 billion project. So clear is kind, confusing is costly. So let's move on to number 4. Number 4 on my list is tools don't fix broken processes. Tools don't fix broken processes. And so I said that again intentionally. You see, because I had no idea that buying the latest software, regardless of what it is, it could be a Microsoft project or Monday.com, Jira, the list goes on. But it won't solve the chaos. Without the right strategy and clarity and team engagement, all you've done is digitalized dysfunction. That's right, digitalized dysfunction. And so don't just adopt tools, adapt processes. All right, let's move on to number 5. Number 5 on my list. You'll grow in ways you didn't expect. Yeah, your skill set will stretch. You'll explore different things on a daily basis. No project is the same. And so I had no idea that project management would shape how I lead my family, how I listen, and how I make decisions on and off the clock. Because when you lead projects, you're learning how to lead people and eventually how to lead yourself. How to lead yourself. And so that's the top 5 items that I wanted to share on today, ever so briefly, about things I did not know in project management when I started. And I thought I would share that with you on today, because many times folks are studying, they're preparing to take their PMP certification test. They've studied, they've worked hard in achieving it, and then we're looking into the field to see what roles are available. And again, we typically see project manager to manage the time, cost, and scope, keep things on time, keep things on track, manage the day-to-day, be able to hold and facilitate meetings, managing projects and hybrid projects, whether they're agile or traditional waterfall projects, you name it, leveraging ITIL, whatever the case might be. But it behooves you to understand more deeply what is the role that the organization is expecting out of you as a PM. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up today's session here. And so if you're stepping into project management, don't just expect to manage deliverables, but expect to be transformed for sure. And if there was anything that I missed or anything that surprised you or something you had no idea about until you became a PM, let me know in the comments. And as always, be encouraged, be true to yourself, and be the best you to help others. Thank you.